Okay, just like my last video, my last TD related video anyway, all of this is just an opinion. If I sound like I'm misunderstanding things, then feel free to correct me, because some of what I'm going to go into will be touchy subjects, but at this present moment in time, this is the impression that I'm getting from factions right now. But anyways, let's get started. Now, while I admit I haven't had the same amount of love for the game that I used to, lately it seems that more and more players are becoming disillusioned with factions, with people taking breaks from the game or even quitting altogether. And personally, I feel this weird aura around the game and some of its content creators, where it almost feels like some people are playing the game because they have to, not because they want to. Now you're probably wondering what the hell I meant by that. And don't worry, I'm going to explain myself. But first of all, obviously factions content is still popular even, well, it'll be 8 years this year after it originally released, and pretty much every experiment that could be carried out in the game, above board or otherwise, has been. So what exactly is keeping it going right now? I want you to think on this for a minute. Maybe it's partly because of the lack of information about the next iteration of factions. I worded it that way instead of just outright calling it Factions 2, because I personally think it'll be a remake of the factions that we're familiar with right now, rather than something all new based on part 2, but that's another matter. But anyways, it doesn't help that we're almost in May with no previews or actual information on what the game entails, when obviously the second game, part 2, has been released for almost a year now. But all we know about the second coming of factions is it exists and it's being worked on. And personally, I think the lack of information is actually driving a few people away from factions, with them losing faith that the second coming, well, is actually coming. And, being in the loop instead of us just, all hopelessly scavenging around for a crumb of information about the next game, will bring people into the first one to see what it's like, but that issue's in Naughty Dog's hands and not ours. However, something that is in our hands though is what we watch. Now this is purely from observation. I don't want to be taken out of context here, and people will think I'm trying to say, oh, you shouldn't watch this type of content, oh, you shouldn't watch this person because that is stupid. People will watch whatever the hell they want to, and that's completely fine. But anyways, what I'm trying to say is, obviously, I posted my good games and my comebacks here and there over the years, but Fuel by Rage is what I'm best known for. People want to see me get mad. Something else I've noticed as well is Rage's TD but it's only Trash Talk series. It's taken off in recent weeks, and we can't talk TD without, mentioning a good old Exposed video. And why I put that with the rest of those types of videos is what I'm trying to say is that most of the more popular content nowadays that I feel, it involves, to dumb it down to the absolute basic, it involves an element of competitiveness, whether it's wanting to bounce back from defeat, or there's a guy in the lobby that's giving the big one and you want to sit him down, or just you want to see someone that's supposedly good at the game getting a reality check. It's just people wanting to go against each other, and that's fine. But the big problem, and obviously most exposed videos will fall into this trap, is when that competitiveness turns toxic. And this comes back to what I mentioned earlier about content creators in this game, because there's no denying it, factions is more toxic than ever before these days, and to an extent I feel that some of that toxicity is targeted towards those creators, especially those of a high skill level. Let me just give you some examples. You've obviously got Joel, aka an individual. He's on a break from factions right now because this whole toxic aura surrounding the game. And obviously you've got Rage and Believe That 18, who have their impersonators, and if you want to tell these impersonators apart, by the way, the ones in the usernames of Rage and Believe That, they're going to be replaced by L's. And if you see that in the lobby, then it's obviously one of these fake people, and chances are they are not going to make your day pleasant at all, to be frank. Anything else, I know there's a Believe This 18, that's not the same related, that guy's okay. I've actually run into him before. But anyways, let's get back on track. Obviously, you know, you've got those impersonators trying to, you know, ruin the names of people in this game. And from the other TV related streams that I've been in of other people, like, you know, I've been in Read Havoc streams sometimes and stuff like that. Like, other people are also tired of the general drama and hate around this game. And I've had my fair share of run-ins with the types of people that, you know, act up to the content creators as well. Like, obviously, for those of you that are around on stream, one time, someone lost to launches on my team and chose to call me out instead of the actual players using them, even though I had nothing to do with them. Purely because, you know, I might have made a few videos on this game. And, you know, I've had less savory messages as well. I remember a couple of times, although I think it might be the same person on different accounts. I've been in the match with that person and they've been on my team and the team has lost, and, you know, after we've lost the game, the person's messaged me just straight up abuse, actually. Just, you know, they'd be calling me a slave N-word, telling me to R-word my sister, calling me a British C-word and this and that. So obviously I'm guessing this person knows who I am. But yeah, I've had messages like that in the past. But anyways, getting back on track, it's this toxicity that's started to become almost normalized. And what I mean by that is, it's becoming increasingly rare to have a chance to, you know, fully relax on the game before, you know, someone starts abusing the glitches in this game or acting like the only place with a meta loadout and a stat team, which forces people to either leave, get sweaty, or just use the glitches and stuff and do the same back. Which obviously, that's going to reduce the player pool on this game, which it hasn't been, like, you know, massively big to begin with. And it turns what's left against each other, which is kind of owing to the healthy competition, quote unquote. It just descending into, you know, beat them by enemies necessary to prove how good I am. I want to do this, like, you know, for content, or expose this person, or like, the reason why I talked about those types of videos before is because, and I know this sounds far-fetched, but, you know, maybe some people are purposefully toxic towards people for their own content and their own enjoyment, which I'm not even going to try to understand. I mean, enjoyment's good content when those types of people get peaked personally, but that's about it. Now, I know some people are thinking, you know, about like scrims and private sessions and stuff as an alternative, and I understand that, but for one thing, I've never been one for, like, you know, competitive style playing, which, you know, when I hear the word scrims, it's like, you know, the first thing that comes to mind. And also, I feel like a little bit of the toxicity can, like, you know, stem from that. And obviously, one, like, just chill private sessions, like, you know, you make stuff nice every so often. Obviously, you know, most of these players met from public lobbies in the first place, like, you know, pubs is where it all starts, and I feel like, you know, even though all this toxic stuff is going on, I feel like there's still some good people out there. So let's move it on slightly, because what I'll say is, a lot of people will tell you that there's no other multiplayer experience like factions, and in my opinion, they're right, but I don't think that's always a good thing, because other multiplayers, as far as I'm aware, don't have the same balance of, you know, method and madness. Plus the fact that tedious characters don't exist in other franchises. Like, for example, Persona 5's main protagonist, Joker, is in Smash as well. So if you get bored of Persona, you can gravitate to Smash because the main character is in that game. Things like that. But what that means is, until the next Factions drops, which could be in the next week or the next year for all we know, there isn't really a natural place to move on from Factions. So for people wanting that kind of experience elsewhere, there's nowhere else to go. So what I was saying earlier about people having to play this game but not wanting to is, although they don't want the toxic aura around Factions, and let's be real, who does? For that Factions experience, Factions is what they have to play, which is what I mean by what I said. Now, there's probably a big question that you're probably thinking of right now that I've said everything that I wanted to say is, with this video, does it mean that I'm quitting Factions myself? And my answer, no. I've given it a lot of shit in this video, sure. And to those that have already, you know, quit playing the game altogether, I fully understand why, and I don't blame you. But I want to put things this way. I'd say my relationship with factions at the minute is, it's like owning a project car. Like, you know, you take something that's like been off the road for a while, or it's already broken, and you try and fix it up and, you know, get it back on the road and make it your own. And where I'm going with this analogy is, obviously, you know, with factions, like most of the time it's all toxic. You don't want to be around because everything is just crap. And like flipping it back to the car analogy, you know, when you're working on that car, most of the time there's always something new that's broken, something else that's annoying you. You just cut it out and ask yourself, why haven't I got rid of this POS yet? And then you get a day where for once everything works. You start it up, you go for a drive, and you come back home in it hours later with the answer to that question being a fat smile on your face. And I still have my moments in factions where I remember why I started playing this game in the first place. Like, obviously, you know, I don't have as much love for the game as I used to. I said that before, but I still love it, and I still love it for both what it is and what it's given me. And also, I think there's a few more reasons why people still watch factions content 8 years later. You know, maybe for some people that have quit already, they simply enjoy watching somebody that's still going. Maybe it's for the memories of the games that they had and the people that were in them. I mean, I've made some good, like, proper friends from this game, and you know, for other people, sometimes it's gone even further than that. I mean, another reason could be, like I alluded to before, it could be that people just want to see those sorts of people get put into place, or you know, maybe they just want to see another quad multi. Anyways, whatever their reason for watching, I want to thank you for watching this one to the end. Now leave your thoughts down below, because I feel like people will definitely want to have this say on this one. But anyways, I'm out of here. So stay classy, people, and as always, I will catch you later.